Hey gang, Sean with the Good Dog. How are we doing? It's Patrick. Stole my middle name. A very, very frosty, not January. Yeah, it's, I don't know, 70 something degrees and humid. No. Anyway, so I'm working with Patrick here. It's our first official walk session. Patrick has had some major issues. Explosive, nasty, bad stuff on walks towards other dogs, attacking the other dog in the house sporadically, redirecting on the owner, not obeying any of the commands, and being really kind of just a not great guy, kind of a pushy, bratty jackass, if I may. And he went through all kind of positive reinforcement training early on. And so there was a ton of that. He's smart as a whip, knows all the commands. Fundamentally nervous guy though. His mom said that from the time they've had him, which was young, he's been a nervous, kind of insecure guy. And so they did all reward-based training. Mom confessed also a lot of, sneak across, boom, boom, boom. Mom confessed also a lot of affection, a lot of soft stuff. So the combination of reward-based training of all yes, and everything's fun and everything's play and everything's good stuff, and the worst thing that happens is the treat's withheld. When you got that, you've got a lot of affection, a lot of freedom, and a lot of soft stuff, and you've got a dog that's already predisposed to being bratty. You find yourself in a whole lot of trouble. And that's kind of where they found themselves with Patrick. So then they sent Patrick to more of an old school kind of trainer doing choke chain stuff. And they said he came back better, a little bit worried about life. So maybe that training was a bit of a shock to his system. I'm not sure, but it was all choke chain stuff. And they said he definitely came back a little more respectful, but probably more nervous and kind of unsure. And so, and then they said that kind of slipped away, which is most likely they didn't keep that stuff up the way they probably wish they would have. But it's hard if you're doing choke chain stuff because the dog knows when you've got a leash on them, the dog knows when you don't, the dog knows when you're close enough to enforce, the dog knows when you don't. So that's the magic of e-collar stuff, is that it actually allows the owners to get the same kind of interactions and communication that the trainer can get. So, of course, they have to work on the relationship and all that good stuff as well, but it's a pretty massive game changer compared to just leash and prong or just leash and choke chain training. So anyways, we've got this young man for a bit. I'm gonna be working with him for the first week that I'm here, and then Cambry will be taking up the next week with him, and we're gonna be working on getting this stuff all straightened out. What we're really shooting for is finding that kind of happy medium, right? So he's had a lot of soft stuff, knows all the commands, but doesn't want to comply. Really, he's got his own agenda, being nasty and biting and just feeling he can do whatever he wants. So he's never been told no. So we're going to make sure he understands that clearly, but we want to do it in a way that helps him to be more confident and strong and comfortable rather than cowed and freaked out and overwhelmed. So we're really trying to find that balance. And we're going to be using e-collar like we always do, leash and prong with the e-collar for the walks, but e-collar for all the rest of the stuff, interior wise and backyard and all that kind of stuff. So we got a good challenge. This guy's got a lot of stuff, a lot of training, but a lot of time being patterned with the wrong kind of attitude stuff. And the biggest challenge is going to be reversing those perceptions that he has with his owners. So they're going to have all these tools, and he's going to have all this accountability, and they're going to have all this method, but they're going to have to really step up to repattern him to believe them and feel about them in a different way. And that's always the biggest challenge. So that's really what we're up against, because I know we'll get him into a good spot. The real challenge is owners have to be patient enough to do that work and then hold out long enough for the patterns to be slowly flipped around, because the patterns right now are I don't respect you, I don't listen to you, I don't care what you say, if I don't like what you're doing, I'll give you a nibble, if I don't like what the other dog's doing, I'll get that's his perception of his world. So we're saying it's a different world, it's gonna take some time. So anyways, that's kind of what we're dealing with, what we're up against. I've got lots of confidence that Mr. Patrick's going to be awesome, and his owners are really in a space where they've invested a lot of time, money, effort, and there's a lot of stress. So I think they're really at that spot where they're ready to dive in and really switch things around. And I'm going to encourage them to be super patient about understanding that it may take some time to repattern that stuff to where they get the best Patrick. It's just the way it goes. You don't get that stuff for free. If you've kind of like sent the wrong messages for a while, it takes a while to get those new messages across. So anyways, that's it. Sean the Good Dog. It's just warm out here. Yeah. Anyways, bye guys.